Good morning and welcome. Hi, my name is Jess Jones. I am the Center Director with the Coffer Resource Center here in Chicago, Illinois. We are the resource center that supports union performers in the pursuit of work, and we are happy to be sitting down with you after a week off last week. I felt disoriented on my Friday, not having this as kind of like my flagship Friday event. So I am happy to be back here. I hope you have your cup of coffee and you're cozy. I don't know where you're joining us from. Watching this in this moment. Here in Chicago, it's about 10, 20 degrees and been dipping into the negatives lately. So a cozy conversation with a cup of coffee is exactly what I am in the mood for today, and I hope you are too. I am looking forward to this conversation very much. I will let Greta do the honors of introducing our guests, but before we get to that, I want to make sure that you stay tuned for conversations like this as well as other events. You can follow us on our social media platforms at Coffer Center. That's on Facebook and Instagram. You'll see alerts and notifications for opportunities to RSVP and tune in for future events. So we would love for you to follow us there so you could stay part of the conversation. You can also subscribe to our newsletter if social media isn't where you get all of your information and you'd rather come right to your inbox. Go to coffercenterchicago.com. Straight down in the bottom middle is the Coffer headliner. Give us your information and we'll make sure our information gets to your inbox. Without further ado, I want to invite Dr. Greta Pope to the conversation. Greta has been so wonderful in bringing this series to our space and allowing us to create a digital space and a digital platform to connect with one another. Greta, it's good to see you this morning.
Thank you, Jess. It's very good to see you on this frigid Chicago morning. Oh my gosh, I can't
If
believe
I angled down right now, you would literally see the blanket on my lap. I'm just like, there's no shame here. I'm just like, I'm gonna cozy up and just get ready to stay warm because that's Chicago in January, February, March for you, I guess. So.
That's right. That's right. Well, it's good to see you, Jess. We are very excited today. We have a wonderful, wonderful guest with us. Are you ready? Are there any other things that you'd like to share before we get going?
Before we go live, I will say if you have pre-submitted a question, we've already sent it along. And if you have questions that come up during the stream, feel free to add them in the chat. If we don't address them in the conversation, we will come back to them at the end of the talk with Dan. So I will see you guys in a little bit. Greta, I'll leave it up to you.
Okay. Hey there, and welcome to SoundCheck. I'm Dr. Greta Pope, and I'm so excited to have this opportunity to visit with creatives from a variety of disciplines about their professional journey. We are in the midst of a pandemic that has changed all of our lives and the ways in which we work. We will use this forum to share our thoughts, our feelings, and best practices for surviving this challenging time. Today, we have a legendary singer-songwriter with us. In addition to being a legend, he's a great guy. Dan Navarro's journey began as a songwriter and singer. He penned the Grammy-nominated Pat Benatar song, We Belong. His music has also been recorded by many others, including the Bangles, Jackson Browne, Dave Edmunds, and so many others. Dan is also a very successful voice actor. What a thrill it is to have Dan with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Navarro.
Dr. Greta, the thrill is all mine. It's great to see you again.
It's great to see you. How have you been?
You know, I've been fine. I've been good. Somehow, I'm not sure how, I'm busier than I've ever been.
That's a wonderful.
Well, there've been a multitude of things to do to make up for what we've lost. And if you just sit and go, well, that's just awful, then it goes by you. So I've been I'm normally on the road a lot. I come to Chicago at least 3 or 4 times a year to perform for 30 years now. And I've been my last show before shutdown was March 8th in Valparaiso, Indiana. And I came home on the 9th and we shut down the 15th and I started streaming that night. And I've done over 200 performances since then,
Wow.
anywhere from 2 to 3 hours. And they get a little silly and they get fun and they're worth it. And I've been lucky in my voice work in that I've been still doing ADR on Family Guy and American Dad remotely. So I've done 33 episodes from home.
Good.
That's been incredibly handy. Half a dozen voiceovers for commercials, things like that. Writing a couple of songs to submit for a couple of films.
That's great.
Staying busy and engaged. and plotting the next move on what it's going to be.
That's great. It sounds like you pivoted immediately. I mean, when things locked down, you really had a sense of what to do and how to do it. And how did you come
It
by
was
those thoughts?
it was actually sort of happenstance. I had been streaming one song maybe every 5 shows from the road for about 3 years. I'd be someplace in a show in a little club, and I'd hand the phone to somebody. They were doing it vertical, and I'd say, just hit the button. And hi everybody, here I am live in Easton, Maryland at the Stoltz Listening Room. There are 4,000 people in this 6x6 room, and make stuff up and sing one song and then sign off. So the notion of going out that way, I saw what the engagement was. So I did one song from my couch over there. The next day I said, well, I guess I'll see you tomorrow. And it was 30 minutes. The next day I said, well, I guess I'll see you tomorrow. It was 2 hours and we were off to the races. So I don't know what made me think I had to do it daily, but there was something about, I'll see you next week,
Yeah.
but okay, I'll see you tomorrow. And
Wow.
a group started coalescing around these daily visits that turned into almost like family reunions. It was people I'd never met, people who didn't know the music, a lot of people I'd known for years, and they're all gathering and they're all chatting like crazy. They're the fans at the show who are yakking during the show, and it drives you crazy, but you can't hear them. So
So
they'd be sitting there with this chat going by, making comments. Then they started developing ideas about what I do, and they gave me a nickname, DFN, for Dan Effin Navarro. And we all went with it, and they got me through it, and I've gotten them through it, and we're not done. So that was the start of it. The business part, the fact that I still got work was great and coincidental because it's voice work. I don't do on camera, and I'm waiting to get significantly older and ugly up so I can get more work on a camera. But I do the voice work, and it still has managed to persist.
that's wonderful. So let's go back to the beginning of your career. Where are you from? How did you get started singing and playing guitar and all of those things?
It was a roundabout road. I was born in Los Angeles and raised in a small Mexican border town, California-Mexico border, called Calexico, California. I went kindergarten through 12th grade down there and came back to Los Angeles to go to UCLA. Studied music there. I was in the marching and concert bands and in the men's glee club. And I got this wild hair that I wanted to write songs. So I bought a guitar in my sophomore year and learned to play it and started making up little songs. And I got fairly focused on it. I started carrying the guitar in the car to play at stoplights and making up songs about my absolutely relentlessly bad personal life. And it started getting traction among my community. I entered a song contest my senior year at UCLA and I won it. It led to a publishing relationship. I won't call it a publishing deal, but I decided to keep pushing. And 2 years after I left school, I got a song on someone else's album. And I thought, I
Wow,
like this.
that is great. That's
Everything stalled after that for
wow.
7 years. So I was working for Tower Records. I went to work as a singing waiter. And it was a dead end job. But at that singing waiter job, I met another guy who was there at a low point in his career, and we hooked up and we started a partnership that lasted over 30 years. He's the guy, Eric Lowen, who I co-wrote "We Belong" with, the Pat Benatar hit. He passed away in 2012, but we started writing together. We were in bands together. We started a duo, and it sort of, the writing career took off in 1984 when we were in our early 30s. I mean, that's, yeah, I'm over 60. And it was real fortuitous. We dove into the songwriting community. Next thing we knew, we really wanted to perform. Nobody cared. So we're in our mid 30s going, nobody cares. We have a career as songwriters. Let's just go play some corner bar and do what we want to do. Acoustic duo, Simon and Garfunkel for the 90s, late 80s really, and just do it for love. And that became a key to us, which is when we quit thinking about outcome and thought about the journey. It
Mhm.
started working. Somebody walked in who didn't really know our work, knew that, could hear that we had written "We Belong" and said, "I want to sign you to a record contract." And danged if WXRT in Chicago didn't start playing that like it was the national anthem.
Wow.
Loyalties and friendships and a relationship that's persisted to this day. Lynn Bramer was on my stream just visiting as a spectator about 2 days ago. He's a dear friend. And so we just figured, let's see how long we can make this car run. And we never ran out of gas.
Wow, that is fantastic. Absolutely. Now, I want to go back and ask you a question. You said you were
Sure.
in a marching band. What instrument were you playing at that time?
Well, I played French horn.
Okay.
My high school didn't march French horn, so I played snare drum.
Oh,
And then when I got to college, I said, I'm a snare drummer. And they kind of went, no, you're not. You're a French horn player. Because they had some seriously world class drummers there. Buddy Rich on steroids, Buddy Rich at 19 kind of a thing. So I switched back over to French horn and I played that in the concert band that was doing symphonic works before no strings, in the marching band for UCLA, which was way fun. Saw lots of great football. The basketball band when Bill Walton was at UCLA, so I saw all those games from the floor. I had Jack Nicholson seats and Spike Lee seats watching those games. And then the jazz band. And sophomore year, I switched over in addition and started singing in the men's glee club, which taught me almost everything I know about vocals and blending and harmonies.
wow. That's
Um,
great.
it was an immersion. It was an era when there were no pop music courses. There was no pop music major. There was no music business major.
I
It was
remember
very classical jazz and opera. That
I
was
remember
it.
those days. That's right. Wow, that is very, very, very cool. So tell us about when you segued, or didn't really segue, but when you began doing the voice acting. How did that come about?
That started out. It was about excuse me. It was about 4 years after We Belong came out. A friend of mine called me up and from college, who was one of the Glee Club members. Do you want to sing on a jingle in my garage? Yeah, it was non-union, and I sang on the jingle. And there was a woman on the date who contracted a lot of union sessions in Spanish. She
Huh.
said, "Do you sing in Spanish?" And I said, "I did." I didn't lie, but I didn't speak Spanish. I'm Latino, Mexican American. I didn't speak Spanish very well at the time. But I said, yeah, and I gave her a demo, and she called me a month later for a Miller Beer commercial that turned out to be the session was produced by Jorge Calandrelli, who wound up an Oscar nominated songwriter for Crouching Dragon, Hidden Tiger, and Grammy winning arranger for Tony Bennett. A guy named Casey Porter was on the session. He had lived in Guatemala, and he became a Grammy winner for Carlos Santana and Ricky Martin. Good God, and Michael Cruz, who also composed jingles. So the three of us are in there, and I start working. All of a sudden, at 36 years old, I start working in sessions, in union sessions in Spanish. One day in 1994, somebody calls me up, hey, we need you for a session. It was an agency I'd worked for many, many times. And they said, this is for Toyota. I get there and I go, what am I singing? They go, you're not singing, you're going to be voiceover. We thought you'd be good. So overnight, I became the voice of Southern California Toyota dealers. And they said, you're going to get 2 to 3 commercials a quarter. So we're going to help you get an agent. And so agents were going, well, this is free money because they didn't have to get me the work. And I got a good agent, and I've had a 25-year relationship with my agency, with my agents, and I love them, innovative artists out of Los Angeles. And it kind of went from there. And inside it, initially, they were sending me up only for Spanish language spokesperson.
Mhm.
You know, Los Toyota del 95 ya están aquí. And you do that kind of thing, right? And then they realized, we think you have broader range. And I go, really? Okay. And they start sending me up on actory roles and character roles. Then it led from that to them putting me up for animated features and animated series. And I landed a couple of them. So it basically just kind of spread like that St. Augustine grass they have in Florida that grows sideways. You put a 1 foot strip in a year, it's covered your entire lawn. It kind of went that way.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So, what have been some of your favorite voice projects that you've done?
Ooh, they vary. For the last 20 years, I took a one-time gig doing ADR, Walla, noise voices with 4 other voice actors on a little series it lasted for about 26 episodes, my work, and then it went away. It was canceled.
Mhm.
And then 2 years later, it came back, and that's Family Guy. So I've been working on Family Guy for 20
Wow.
years. I've been working on American Dad since the first season. Among my 2 favorites, I was the voice of Chacal, the big monster in the animated feature, The Book of Life, where I got to say things like, I hate bullfighters. Give me the medal, other girl pays. And, but it was one of those situations. I was a late addition. I was an ADR character because the director had cast himself in the role and at the last minute decided I want a real voice. And I was looping. I wasn't, it wasn't pre-animation like a lot of the voice work is in animation. And it was a very cool credit. I'm sitting there and I've got, oh my God, I got a title card. The other one was in 2016. I was hired to do 9 sessions impersonating the voice of Javier Bardem in Pirates of the Caribbean 5. Well, I said things like this boy, I were walking his shoes. No, those were not sailors. They were pirates. Pirates. And you make your face do funny things so that you can sound like you have to sound. And the other one, and I'll
Wow.
just say one more before we move on, is I was working with Mark Mothersbaugh from Devo on a movie he was scoring called Envy. Thought it was going to be the biggest hit of the year because it was Jack Black, Ben Stiller, Rachel Weisz, and Amy Poehler, Christopher Walken. We're talking Oscar winners. Directed by Barry Levinson, who did Diner and The Natural. And I'm going, and I'm singing this part. They didn't know what they wanted. We tried some things. A couple months later, they said, we're going to try it again. And we're going to do kind of a bluesy sound, like a sort of, acoustic Delta blues. And so I did the whole voice, kind of like Leon Redbone. And I sang, the turkey's got his gobbler, the lion's got his pride, and sang it like that. And the director, Barry's just going, I love this. They added 7 cues. I narrated the picture. And then the movie came out and everybody hated it. And it died an instant death. I have made dozens of dollars off that picture. But I'm still proud of the work, and it was really fun. I'm sitting there in the studio with Barry Levinson and Mark Mothersbaugh. Bruno Kirby came to visit, and I'm just going, how did I get here?
That's fantastic. That is fantastic. So we have a question
Yes.
from our audience. And the question is, to treat a room for voice recording, what materials give professional results? And how much do I really need to spend?
You need to think of what the purpose is, and the purpose is to prevent reflection off of hard 90-degree angle walls. You can put up all kinds of professional baffling, but what's going to do you really well, and there is actually a website that sells them. There's a website where you can get a sort of metal frame canopy, very lightweight aluminum frame that's kind of like those canopies you stick in your backyard when you're doing a picnic, and you hang these walls on it that are made of basically moving blankets, quilted moving blankets. They make them with grommets that you can stick up with cup hooks or command hooks on your walls to just basically deaden the reflection so it doesn't come back at you. They make little, for about $100, you can get these arc-shaped foam things that you put in front of you so that when you're speaking into it, it doesn't reflect. The foam absorbs it. There are no 90-degree angles. Nothing's bouncing around, and it works real well. I'm in my living room, and I don't have any of that stuff put up. But partly, I'm using a dynamic microphone instead of a condenser microphone. Your Neumann TLM 103s, your U87s, those are all condenser microphones. The Blue Yeti is a condenser microphone. It'll pick up loads of sound from around, including that reflection. A dynamic mic has a narrower frame. This is designed for broadcast. It's designed for voice. And there's the Electro Voice RE20. There's the Rode Podcaster, which is a USB mic. There's the Rode Procaster, which is an XLR mic. And then there's the Rode Broadcaster, which is even higher level. The whole idea is these mics are designed to maximize voice, eliminate side noise. You can work them very, very closely without overloading them. And that helps. The greater the distance between your voice and your mic, the greater the space is for the room to come in. So that will help you deaden the sound. You don't need to go to a lot of trouble. I've seen people get cardboard boxes, line them with foam rubber, and just set them up. Or those little collapsible storage cubes that are made of like vinyl, and they'll fold flat, and you pop them open, you stick your mic inside, you talk into it, and you won't get the reflection. It's easy, and it doesn't have to be expensive.
That's great. That's good to know. Now, you were talking about your setup there at your home. So tell us a little bit about your video setup as you're streaming, and just give us a little bit of information about how you're streaming.
I'm streaming using a Logitech Brio webcam. It's a 4K cam. Nobody on the planet streams in 4K, which means you've got sufficient headroom to get 1080p or 720 out there. It'll do 1080 at 60 frames, which means it won't do jerky motion. It won't blur. I'm using a pair of Viltrox VL20 video lights that are on a remote, which means if I want to, I can turn them off and on, and it's it's just there goes one, and here goes the other on the other side. And so they're across the room from me. Inexpensive, relatively. These cost about $180 a pair with stands and remotes. I didn't pay for the soft boxes. I'm hanging white T-shirts on them, and it tamps down the brightness a little bit. Um, and I've got it at a safe distance so I can operate it. I use a piece of $6 software called Webcam Settings, where that I can control the camera and zoom in and out. Um, and so basically, it's a certain amount. I did a certain amount of research by doing Google searches and figured out what worked best for me.
That's
The
great.
Brio camera's $200. You can get a Logitech C920 all day and all night for $69, and it's pretty darn good.
Mhm.
I like this a little better, in particular color representation and sharpness, but the other will work perfectly well.
That's great. That's
And
great.
frankly, the best one out there is your iPhone. Your iPhone's got a wonderful camera in it and a pretty good mic if what you're doing is just, if you're not dealing with electric instruments or multiple whatevers.
Yeah.
My first 25 streams were just into the phone. My next 40 or 50 were into a separate microphone made by Shure called the the MV, Mary Victor 88 Plus. It's designed to sit on a stand. And by the way, if you let me screen share, I'll show you a picture of it. But Mary Victor 88 Plus, it comes with a phone clip, a little baby tripod that looks like this. And when you are not using it as a tripod, it's actually a handle. You can hold your phone and point the mic at whatever. It points right at me, operated by software. I did that for about 50 streams, and then I switched over to a mixer using two mics for my guitar, one for the voice, going through a mixer that's got USB output and built-in reverb. And
Very cool.
and so it's a matter of I did the research to
Mhm.
think it through to keep it budgeted down by taking that instead of just going, well, that'll just do the job. Um,
Great. That's great. Now, Vivia is asking a question. What is the website that sells the insulation that you mentioned?
I am looking because I don't remember off the top of my head, and I'm going to take a look at it. I found it by searching for portable sound booth or
Okay.
something like that, and so I'm going to do that now.
Okay. Okay. That's
And while we talk, we can do that, and I can do both things at once, and we'll.
okay. Okay. So I was going to ask you, how your life has changed since the pandemic started. But you've been doing all of the live streams and, as opposed to the actual live performances that you were doing before. Have things changed for you in any other way? How are you spending your days, the business part of your business? Has that
Well,
changed?
what I've discovered is I seldom wear pants. It's been I don't sleep in pajamas. I sleep in kind of loose, long sleeve, like a baseball T-shirt and sweats. And so what I really haven't decided, especially if I don't have to go on camera, am I working in my jammies or am I sleeping in my clothes? I'm not sure which one it is. But certain things I haven't had to. I haven't cleaned my house in ages. My kitchen, I washed the dishes, but I've got stuff sitting up. I still got Christmas decorations in a box about to go get put away. Um, what I wound up, what has changed is interaction with people that I miss greatly. The other thing is when the pandemic first happened, haircuts went away. So my hair was down to here, and I needed a haircut and a hug really bad. Um, I had a long distance relationship, and that ended. Um, but the biggest impact has been in not having the normal ways to do things and deciding what's important to me and what's not. Especially when things have gotten bad. There have been two different surges in LA that have gotten really, really, really bad. I'm in Los Angeles, everybody. And in November, LA got horrible, really, really horrible. So I was doing everything with delivery services. I didn't leave the house. I didn't see people because I didn't want to get sick. I can't afford to get sick. And to those who wonder how serious it is, I'm not going to fall on either side of the political spectrum on that. I'm not going to dare take on that beast. What I will say is that the impact on some people who've survived it has been to deteriorate them well. I'm an older guy. You can look it up. I'm pretty danged old. I don't want the illness to turn me into the old man I am not. And therefore, it's worth it to stay back. and to not take the chance. It's like going into an open field where you know that it's 100 yards by 100 yards, but there are two landmines out there.
Mhm.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
When you're younger, you go, I can make it.
Yeah.
And you blow your foot off.
Yeah.
Or you watch somebody else blow their foot off. I'm
Yeah.
not doing it.
Yeah, why take a chance?
It's just not worth it.
Yeah. Now we have another question. How do you work on accents? What is your technique? And then what is the name of your DVDs? And he's asking a lot of different questions.
Well, the accent thing, because I'm bilingual, I had learned to hear, and because I'm a musician, and this is Greta, I know you as a singer. I've talked to many voice people. There's a voice director in particular who's based in Toronto named Stevie Valance, and she's a dear friend. We've actually never worked together, but she's a really dear friend, and she sings. And she said she liked hiring singers for voice acting because they can hear the melody of the text. And there is a melody to the text. We can tell the difference between, I want you to go get that gun, and I want you to go get that gun. And we're hearing na 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 na. We're hearing the melody, the pitch, as we deliver what we're doing. Sometimes we have to learn to amplify it. Sometimes we have to learn to tamp it down. When we're sitting there going, "It's my birthday," no, dude, it's my birthday. And the director's kind of going, "This is film, not stage." But those aspects of hearing led me to hearing subtle differences. Being trained in college to sing classical choral works in French, Italian, German, languages I didn't know taught me to do accents and to understand how to properly pronounce things, even though I didn't know what I was saying. So when I get an audition for something, my first step is YouTube, Russian accents, and I watch 4 or 5 YouTubes and I try to figure out how to wait out the way to do it, and it is very, very difficult sometimes, and sometimes they seem to put Y's and everything, it's probably going to get it, and I don't know if that's exactly how it is, but you can approximate it, but then you start hearing the reference, and then you just impersonate it. You just move your mouth around, and you try to, because we as singers know there's the middle of your tongue to the back of your throat creates this, and to the front of your throat creates that, and I learned about Spanish accents, Mexican-American accents. They don't talk like this. This is not how they talk. This is the person that come from Mexico. The person that lives in LA probably doesn't even speak Spanish, but he's got this little bit of an accent, and the L is all the way toward the side of the mouth instead of in the L in the middle of the mouth. And you learn how to do that. And there's very, very subtle differences that you don't really hear. They don't have to be particularly strong. You don't have to talk like this. Sometimes there is a need to talk like this. Other time, it's just a very subtle little thing. And then, of course, there's Ricardo Montalban, who had this habit of speaking with a very effete accent, with a little bit of that stuff thrown in. You listen to what the hallmarks are and you hit them.
Yeah, that's great. That is great. So, what advice would you give to someone wanting to be a voiceover person? What would you tell them about how to get out there and find an agent and all of those things?
The first thing I would do is practice. The ability to practice is easier than ever before. Your phone has a pretty decent microphone in it. Upgrade the software. There are, the voice memo that comes with the iPhone, and I'm not an Android guy, so I don't know what that is. But the voice, I think I found it. I think I may have found it. I'll talk about this in a second. I'm going to move.
Okay.
The app I use the most often, is it in my utilities? No, it's in my work folder. Is called Voice Record, and its icon is an old school Shure microphone with a pair of headphones on them. There's one called AVR X Pro that's fairly high end, and it'll do a lot. And you can use your phone to practice. A good USB microphone doesn't cost that much. I mentioned the Rode Podcaster. This is what I do my auditions with. It's a USB microphone. It weighs about 4 pounds. It's made of metal, patterned after the Electro Voice RE20, a dynamic mic, USB powered headphone jack, and a little volume control. So you can, and it's $229 online, which means if you're lucky, you can find for about $125, $150 used. And they're sturdy as hell, so it's okay to buy a used one. And Rode, that's RODE, Rode, is very, very good about service and attention after the fact. Even if you buy it used, you contact them and they will help you out. And practice. Pull pages out of a magazine and start reading them. Start getting used to the difference between announcer copy, which is, usually going to be saying something like the new Toyota Camry, where 5 people can travel and 6 in the glove compartment, as opposed to a guy talking about, when I'm sitting at home with my family, all I really want to be is safe.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought this alarm system and it works. And they're really trying to be just the person next door. And, they don't want this unless it's a parody, as they're sitting there and saying, only one sandwich will bring you what you need in a sandwich, because they're being silly.
Yeah.
But you can practice your timbres. You can practice your pace. Record it. The recording software is usually free in these computers. And start listening back and direct yourself. What have I done right? What am I doing that's not working? What could I change? Listen to commercials. Listen to stuff on TV. Start aping them and create a body of work that if somebody says, I need something, you can either make it for them or draw from it.
Mm-hmm.
2007, I started doing my auditions at home. That's 13, almost 14 years now. What it means is that I'm 100, 150 auditions a year, lately probably 50. But I've got probably nearly 2,000 auditions stored. If somebody says, I need this,
Mm-hmm.
I can go, I remember I did something like that. You go searching for it. It's all labeled so you can track it. And there you go.
That's great. That's great.
All doable.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So now tell us what advice you would give to singer-songwriters looking to get their music placed.
That's a hard one. The access to a general public is both easier than ever and harder than ever. The hard part is monetizing it. Mm-hmm. Unlike the old days where, you make a record, you sell a record, and based on its performance, you do a certain thing, and radio was king. Again, I can draw in the Chicago area because of WXRT and the saturation they played us with between 1990 and 1998, and still play, every throwback Saturday, they'll play Walking on a Wire from 1990, and I've been in town and hear it. And if Lynn Bramer knows I'm in town, he'll play me on his show, play us on his show. Lowen, by the way, from Lowen and Navarro, passed away in 2012, so I've been solo since 2006. But in getting started, the important thing is to write. Write. Write what you know, write what you feel. Be self-critical of your writing enough to grow, but not so self-critical you stifle yourself. And put stuff out there, whether it's on online platforms. There is a revenue stream that comes from it, and it's small. I hate it, but get yourself on Spotify. Get yourself on the streaming services. It's not that hard to do. You could usually consolidate that through either Orchard or CD Baby and get out to most of the services. But start the process. Have an active social media presence. My personal opinion is that streaming really, really, really works. From the standpoint is that you may be grabbing your fans one at a time. Get over here, you, get over here. But they stick with you if you give to them. And you have to give to them, not with an eye toward what you're going to receive, but the act of giving has to be the act of receiving. Mm-hmm. And if you feel that and you embody that in your music, whether your music is rock, jazz, soul, folky, make it sincere. If it's about being angry about politics, make it sincere. If it's about being sad in love, make it sincere. Mm-hmm. If it's about if it's about party, make it count. Mm-hmm. Beastie Boys, they were pretty good at that. And the whole idea is own what you do. Tell the bloody truth, whatever that is. Mm-hmm. And keep putting it out there fearlessly, because the people that are going to go, I hate that, you don't know who they are. And they might tell you, delete them. It's no big deal. But just start engendering and reinforcing the connection between this and this and this. And that applies to acting. It applies to, it applies to singing, even if you're singing something that is somebody else's. If you don't own the material, you're not going to have a convincing vocal. Yeah. And the same thing applies as a singer-songwriter or an artist trying to get out there. Just put it everywhere and never, ever, 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 ever stop. Because if you stop, that's when it's over. Somebody asked me once, can you give me some advice? I went, quit. They went, well, I can't quit. I said, then you don't need advice. You need luck.
That's great. That is great. That's great. Well, Dan, it has been so wonderful having you with us. And we have another question. Do you copyright your own songs before you release them? Do you recommend that writers do that before releasing their material? Yeah.
You know, I don't. I've had one song stolen from me in my career, and it wasn't stolen outright. Like they took my song and stuck their name on it. They took a portion of the chorus, integrated it into what they did so that it was obvious to me and a few other people, changed other stuff. It was going to be virtually impossible to get action on, and it probably would have ruined our careers because the person who did it was a very major, one of the biggest stars in the
Yeah.
history of popular music.
Yeah.
And our publisher went, yeah, tough break, isn't it? I put a copyright notice on everything I send out in any sort of hard copy, meaning a tape, an MP3. I'll embed it in there someplace in the metadata, because you can do that in iTunes, is you can put in metadata, including a copyright notice and songwriter credits, lyric sheets. I put a copyright notice on all of that. If you really think that there's a risk, copywriting can be done. It's not cheap. It's about, I think, $150 a song. But you can also copyright a collection of songs. These are my 10 songs, my 10 February songs or whatever, songs of 2020. That's a collection, one copyright fee, everything that's in it is copyrighted. If you put a copyright notice, it's a little bit like putting an I've got an alarm system sticker on your window. No one's really going to go, they're bluffing. They're going to move on. And so they won't do that. And you are protected by common law copyright. It's just hard to prove without a true registration. And by the way, the whole thing of mailing something to yourself doesn't work. The reason it doesn't work, you can mail an unsealed envelope to yourself, get a postmark on it, and then at the chosen moment decide to stick something in it, seal it, and who's going to know the difference? So they err on the side of support, of verification. You can't truly verify that even though it looks like you can. So, but that's the answer to the copyright issue. I don't do it. I register everything with BMI, Broadcast Music Inc., counterpart of ASCAP, and therefore there is evidence of when it was registered and a credit in my name. And the other thing can be, performances out there. But I put a copyright notice on everything, but I don't file legal copyright until something's released and recorded.
Okay. That's very good advice. Different advice than I was expecting, but very good.
Well, it's a functional standpoint. I mean, there's no question that copywriting something properly is much, much, much greater. Let me put it this way. Actually, having the alarm system is better than only having a sticker.
Right.
But some people can't afford it. And for rookie writers, that can be a hindrance. My suggestion, put a copyright notice on everything. Wait till you've got a dozen of them and then copyright the collection in one go for one fee instead of paying 12 fees.
That's great. Well, Dan, it's been great talking with you today. You told me,
Greta, too. I'm looking forward to hearing how you're doing.
Well, I'm doing great. Everything is going very well. I have a podcast that I'm doing, the Business Savvy Creator podcast, and just a lot of things that I've sort of taken up during the pandemic, and it's been great. Kind of the things to keep me sane, keep me happy, keep me moving forward, all of those things. So it's great.
Well, you and I met through at an after convention, I want to say 2009 or so. So it's been a dozen years. And your name has come up recently in my sound recordings negotiating committee with Janice Pendarvis, the famous singer with Sting and many other people. She's my vice chair. And we may tap you on the shoulder sometime because we both think very highly of you.
Thank you. Well, I would love that. So I'm wondering if you would be willing to sing something.
Sure.
Today. This is so
With
exciting.
pleasure. I'm trying to decide if I should do the big old hit because I think everybody's going to like that.
I think so too.
I think so too. That's so. And so this song was written in 90 minutes in September of 1983. We didn't write it to be a hit, we wrote it just to write it. Had no idea what would happen with it. And 13 months later, it was a top 5 hit all over the world, and our lives were changed permanently. And I remember the look on our faces the first time we heard it on the radio. It was something like... 20 times I tried to tell you, 20 times I cried alone. Always I'm surprised how well you cut my feelings to the bone. Don't wanna leave you really, just wanna break the ice. Do I look silly to you when I yield to your advice? When you say we belong to the light, we belong to the thunder, we belong to the sound of the words we're both falling under. Whatever we deny or embrace, for worse or for better, we belong together. Si acaso no lo sabes, te aseguro que es verdad. El cariño que es sincero no se apaga con crueldad. Olvidas lo que fuimos y desprecias lo más fiel. Juntitos pretendimos que la luna era de miel. Junto a ti, solo es mi anhelo. Everybody sing with me at home. Junto a ti como el rayo de luz que ha brotado del cielo. No importa el porvenir si sufrir es mi triste destino. Junto a ti hasta el fin del camino. The Spanish words mean that there is no love that is greater than that between a true-hearted gentleman and his chosen one in the back of an El Camino out on Lakeshore Drive in February. Like Burr. Close your eyes and try to sleep now. Close your eyes and try to dream. Clear your mind and do your best to try and wash the palate clean. We can't begin to know it, how much we really care. But I hear your voice inside me, and I see your face everywhere. Now I say, we belong to the light, we belong to the thunder. We belong to the sound of the words we've both fallen under. Whatever we deny or embrace, or worse or for better, we belong together. We belong together.
Bravo, 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 bravo. Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, I just glanced and saw something. Jay Horace has the website. He founded vocalbooth2go.com. That is the one. They've got sound blankets. They've got portable sound booths. You nailed it. Well done. And he asked about the lighting kit. I'm using a Viltrox VL200. They're about the size of an iPad, flat panel, plastic. It comes with stands and remotes. 2 of them for $179, 3 for about $210. And you can get smaller ones that are cheaper, but I like this because it's suited for my purposes. Viltrox VL200.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So I'm going to call Jess back. Thank you, Dan, so much for being with us. What a treat this is for me and for
Well, thanks for involving me, too. You know, I remember really, really well the show that I did for the Coffer Center at the main stage a couple of years ago. I'm grateful that you've asked me. I'm really support the work that you're doing. Jess, I didn't realize when I met you that you are the grand poobah over there. Well done. Great work. Look, call on me again because I love what you're doing. Chicago means the world to me, and supporting our performers is paramount.
Well, this has been fantastic, and I feel like I feel like bowing away from my computer because I don't even know how I come back after that. Like how do you close when Dan leads us out with that beautiful music? I wrote down, and I hope you don't mind because we're totally going to pull this out for a soundbite. The whole section we were talking about, the act of giving has to be the act of receiving.
It's their
that
identical.
is like. That is like a snap, a mic drop, like a round clap, like that's all the things. That is everything. And so it
is once you figure that out, so many things become easier. And it's not that it's better to give than to receive. They're identical. Mm-hmm. If you do it right, they're identical. So just
Amen.
keep it up, because the more you give, the more you will receive, whether you get it in a tangible form or in a trackable form.
Mhm.
To just sit there and go, and look, I mean, I've been really lucky, and I mean, like, some of it is dead dumb luck. I mean, I've never underestimate the ability for dumb luck to intercede, and just go, okay. But if you're persistent and you are focused and you keep trying, dumb luck will fall on you. But the idea that I don't have somebody says, well, I'm sorry to take up your time. What's it for? You can't hoard it. You can't store it. It won't go in a bottle. So use it and give it away. Give it away like crazy, and you'll be stunned at what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Fantastic.
I feel,
Fantastic.
yeah, I just, again, I feel like it's all the mic drops and round claps, because I mean, I think that's exactly right. And I think that that's the thing that fills your cup, and it gives you the return that you didn't agendize. So it's been great to listen to your journey and to hear how that's borne out for you, and to
Thank you.
spend this hour listening to you give to us in this way as well. So
More to
thank you
come.
so much, Dan.
More to come.
Yeah, we have a note that says so inspirational, and it truly is.
Pues muchísimas gracias, Charin. Charin Alvarez. Encantado. Being raised on the border. That's what it is. But
wonderful.
anyway, I mean, I could talk your ears off all day, but I really appreciate you asking me to be here. And we'll figure out some things to do together again. Again, that main stage was really worthwhile. It was
Yes,
fun.
it was. We will figure
Well,
out.
and actually, and I might ask you to tell us more, though, because before we went live, you were talking about a year from now what your intentions are and what you plan on doing in a van between now and then. So hopefully, we're going to have a lot of opportunities to hear your work in other ways. But Dan, would you mind telling everyone else what you were telling us before we went live?
Well, basically, what I've decided to do, because I'm normally 50 or 60 flights a year. I had done 22 flights by March 8th, and I'm shut down. And it's a little bit dangerous out there. My son has flown back and forth between Brooklyn and Los Angeles. He's 24 and a filmmaker, and but it's a little dicey. So I bought a camper van, and I'm going to hit the road on the road and tell stories, do streams, shoot video, record music, parking lot shows, driveway shows, public park shows, bring out my little PA, run it off the inverter, and go out there and grab this. And so my next show in Chicago, I will drive to town. And I might take a couple of days. I do a backyard show every August in Naperville. And so I'm just going to park and if we can't do it in the backyard, I'll do it in the street. And if I can't do it on the street, I'll come to your driveway and sing a half a dozen songs for you and be on my merry way. And if you want to give me money, great. And if you don't, I don't care. Awesome. Let me play for you. Let's have some fun. And I'm going to go out there. I take possession of the van next week. It's been converted by a friend of mine who's from Chicago. The lovely Christine Pointner from Chicago. She was the first person to play my music on the radio at Arizona State University in 1990. We've stayed friends. One day she posts up on Facebook, yeah, I'm trying to figure out what to do with this van. I'm going, hello, can we talk? I want to buy one. She goes, oh, I meant I want to sell mine. Boom, done. And so it's a great price, and it's got everything I need and nothing I don't need. And I can park it on I can park it on Diversity Parkway, and nobody's gonna know the difference, because it's not an RV. It's a van. High roof. And I'm very happy with it, and I'm excited at the possibility of not letting what's going on stifle me. I'm going to be safe. I'm going to be smart, but it's okay. I can't go do what I used to do. I'm going to find a different way around it. And it's doable if you get creative and start thinking, what is it that we really trade in? And yeah, I'm a musician, singer and songwriter and all of that. I trade in engagement. So I want to go out and engage.
Wow. So tell
With
us
a
about
mask and tongs and gloves and
yeah.
a
Yeah.
wetsuit and a space
Tell
helmet.
us about Dan Fam. You were telling us about that, and tell people how they can become a part of that.
Well, it's a private group with public posts, so you can see what's up there. It is on Facebook. It's called Dan Fam, capital D, capital F, and they even found the TM trademark symbol. So it's Dan Fam trademark, Dan Fam TM. Go there. There's about I think last time I looked, there's about 475 people. Moderated by a wonderful person named Deb Ewing, who is as psycho as I am, and really creative, really smart, really focused, really nuts, just like me. And we all just sort of throw down and we shoot from the hip, and everybody's really polite, and but they're witty. And so it's been really incredible to watch this spontaneously grow out of a need, again, to engage. It's not about me. It's about them. They're engaging. I'm just sort of the device. that they use, and they support me, and they make fun of me, and they laugh at me, and they laugh with me, and you know, I was doing a video with a ring light. Everybody's using these ring lights, right? They reflect in your glasses. These are my other lights reflected in my glasses. They were having a contest to see who could center the ring right over my pupils and made me look like I was a zombie. There were bets going. You know, I would see the chat going by, go over, under, over, under. Go, what are you talking about? Whether you're going to go over 2 hours or under 2 hours. In the last 5 months, the unders are just blowing it because I never go under. I'd see YT equals 15. YT, because I'd sit there and talk, you know, I chat a lot, clearly. I yammer like crazy. I call it the yammer. And they go, we like the yammer. We like the stories. So I see YT equals 15. I go, what's that mean? What's that mean? That's yammer time. That's how long you talked before you played a song. Yammer time. Give people a reason to congregate. Give them something to talk about. Let them talk about, ask them about themselves. That's really, they have shared with me some of it on the posts, some of it on the chat, and some of it in private emails. All kinds of details about their personal and private lives. And I'm not talking about salacious stuff. I am talking about impactful stuff. And I listen, and I internalize, and I share back, and they know me pretty well. I trust them. And, there's always a delete button and a mute button and gotta go. But nobody's really crossed. Well, one person did, but that's one person who had, she was feeding beer to her bunnies. And that one got a little bit out. She kind of said something about rap in a way that, let's just say, is both inaccurate and way socially unacceptable. And I mean, we're talking one of my more conservative white fans from Minnesota went, no, you do not go there. You are wrong. Sorry. We are in an era of, thank God, finally, the hint of the beginning of an awareness of social justice issues out there. And I think it's only the beginning. Wish it wasn't, but it is. But the bottom line is they're considerate people who, if they thought they were hurting my feelings, making fun of me, they would be mortified. But they know better. They know that I can take it. And they'll know that, they know that if they really get under my nose, up my nose, I'll probably go, yeah, how's that working for you?
Yeah.
Actually, my favorite one, which is go with God.
That's good.
Yes,
So
go ye forth and multiply is my other favorite.
We have a link for Dan Pham TM in the chat. So anyone
Well,
interested?
I see Maria Borges, and I see Bobby Jacobson from Minnesota, Maria Borges from Santa Cruz, California. Sean O'Donnell looks familiar, but maybe not. But the Dan Phammers will attend, and they're awesome people. Then they're giving me feedback on, I learned about this person, that show, this artist.
Right.
They support the people that we've discovered. That's what I mean. It ain't about me. But if I can be the clarion sitting there going, check this out, check out the Coffer Center, especially those of you, there are some Dan Phammers from the Chicago area, Nadia, and check it out.
And I think we agree with you. I mean, I think it's the same thought over here is this moment of time has given us an impetus to be creative and draw community in a new way. Like if somebody, I think maybe it was even one of these conversations, but if you haven't changed after this, then you haven't learned the lesson kind of thing. Like There's a new way to do a lot of things, including congregating, including, I think our coffee hours have been the same thing that you've been talking about with Dan Pham, which is just people know each other in a new way now and aren't afraid to be real with each other. And there's something beautiful about that because we're all in our different ways. We're all in this moment of pause. And so we can look at each other in a different way and listen to each other in a different way because there is less white noise right now.
Right. And I don't pause well. I don't deal with repose well. I mean, not that I don't like it, but I would turn into Jabba the Hutt and just, if I were to, so I don't rest and I don't sleep much. I keep focused. Clearly, I drink a lot of coffee and talk a lot. But, we've got to figure out, we're not going back to the old way. The new way will be some of the old way and some of the new way. Put another way, in the year 2000, I could hand you an airplane ticket to go any place in the world. After 2001, you couldn't do that. Certain things are going to be different. And the more we get into it and behind it, the better we can adjust to it. The more we resist it and say, I'm holding out until the old weight comes back, good luck with that.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Right.
not going to be back the same way. And heaven forbid, and I draw these analogies from all these things, a Seinfeld episode where he had a friend who was bald. And he saw his driver's license and went, "You've got hair." He goes, "Yeah, I shaved my head because I like it." Wow, okay. Well, one day that guy lost his razor. Turned out in between starting to shave his head and when he lost his razor, he had gone bald. When it comes back, if you sit around, whatever you knew how to do won't be there. So just stay busy, stay mobile, like the little roly-poly punching clown that had the weight in the bottom that was inflated when we were kids, and you punch it and always would stay on its feet. Be that person. No matter what life deals you, stay on your feet, stay mobile, stay going forward. Be a halfback who spins and stays on their feet. And when it lightens up, because it will lighten up, you are ready for what's different.
Yeah.
Instead of sitting there going, well, yeah, it's back, but it's over there now.
You're right.
And I'm here.
You're right.
Well, and Dan, what I love about your story though too is the difference between choosing to shave your head before something happens and finding out you're bald is choice, right?
Right.
Like it feels like something that was done to you when you're shaving your head to compensate for something, or from the starting point, figuring out what gives you power and joy and doing something
Right.
you like. It's not something you're assuming. And I think that there are things about this too. No, you're right. We're all going to be bald after this in some way, but we can either want to and figure out what we like about it, or we could feel like something was done to us and it's going to change the way we experience it. So I think that's a great point.
No, I'm no victim. And
Well,
you
Dan-
know, that's why, I mean, a lot of bad things have happened to me, but I'm not a victim.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. But what a thrill and a privilege it has been for all
Thank
of
you
us
for
to
asking.
spend this time with you, Dan. Thank you so, so, so very much. And I
Well,
look
it's great
forward
to see you, and it's great to meet you, Jess. And thank you.
It's great to meet you, Dan. And Greta, thank you for bringing this conversation here. Dan, thank you for making the time. It has been so fantastic. For those of you that are still listening, we will have this on our YouTube. So if you got something out of this and you want your friends to tune in belatedly after the fact, this will be live this afternoon. So you could share this on your social media channels. I'm guessing we'll probably see it posted to the Dan fam as well.
I shared it over. I tried to share. I think I shared it over as soon as it happened, and if I didn't, I will. And for the Dan Fammers, you know, I'll see you Saturday. I stream on Twitch Saturday from 11 a.m. California time to 2 p.m., 3 hours, all requests, and lots of yammering. It's basically my streams are Monday at 7 p.m. Central on Facebook, Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central on YouTube, and Saturdays at 1 p.m. Central on Twitch, and every week.
Well, we hope to see you at a stream, and I hope that you'll keep us all posted on your van travels and your whereabouts so we could congregate in a parking lot or a driveway with you in the future. That would be fantastic.
I'll be calling you both up going, I got a 100-foot extension cord. Can I plug in?
I'm already thinking of parking lots near me, so just you.
Oh, well,
just you
seriously, some sort of,
yeah.
You know, when it's warm enough, some sort of public outdoor parking lot. Bring your car. Well, let's get, you know, a Walmart. Let's get in a circle. I'll pull out the PA. We want to have to find out if we need permits. We make it a benefit for the Conference Center. And
we got a year.
Do something different.
That's great.
We got nothing but time to drum this one up.
Because I'm planning on actually. I am scheduled for shows in. I'm scheduled for a show in Arlington Heights at Hey Nani in June. We'll see if it happens. But I'm coming out anyway. I'm tired of being in Los Angeles and tired of being in my house.
Well, I look forward to sharing information about your shows with our community as well, so they could find out what you're doing in our hood. And until then, happy van obtaining. We look forward to seeing pictures and hearing information. Greta, as always, it's good to see you. It's so wonderful to see you.
Thank you so much for hosting these SoundChecks, episodes. It's wonderful. Wonderful.
It's truly my pleasure. And to the Coffer community, stay safe, stay sane, stay creative, stay connected. We hope you'll join us for a future conversation, and have a great weekend, everybody. We'll talk to you guys later.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. Bye, everyone.
Bye.